We are going to be talking second round NHL playoffs here. We are down to 8 teams on the chase for the Stanley Cup next on The Crease. Welcome into The Crease, and if you are looking to go to any of these games or any games in general, you need to check out our affiliate, Vivid Seats. The link will be down in the description of this video. You can check out Vivid Seats. They have everything you need to go live vividly at all of your favorite sporting team and events all year long. Check out the link, support the house call, support The Crease. Go see your teams live, in person, use Vivid Seats, and go live vividly. Now, let's go ahead and get into the teams that are still in the playoffs. People, yes, we're talking about. We're going to start out east with the Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins. That series, what it looks like going forward. And since I'm the Bruins fan here, I will go ahead and take the reins on this series. I honestly watched just about as much Toronto Bruins series as I possibly could. And I will be honest with you, there were plenty of times where the Bruins were just the puck was going their way. That's the only way to describe it. The Leafs were putting it in the crease multiple times. Jeremy Swayman played out of his mind. There should be a statue of that man out front of TD Garden right now. Not one series, that man deserves a statue, because without Jeremy Swayman on the ice, the Bruins are at home right now, and the Maple Leafs are going up against the Florida Panthers. They are not going to get as lucky against a Panthers team who's more physical than a Leafs team, even though the Leafs absolutely just were all over the place. And I'll go ahead and give you a little insight on that. There were 2 series in the first round of the playoffs this year that saw an absorbent amount of hits. It was the Panthers Lightning series. It saw 108.6 hits per game. 108.6. 5 games. They averaged 108.6 hits per game. The second series was the Bruins Maple Leafs, which saw 98.15 hits per game. That is insane. Insane amount of hits. And now it is going to be the Panthers and the Bruins, who combined in the first series for 100.26 hits per game.
And as you say that, Joe, I'm watching the Bruins get just absolutely shelled by the Panthers' top line,
Non-stop.
or fourth line. They're getting hit. Brad Marchand is ineffective against the Panthers yet again.
Imagine that, an undersized guy. But that's what you're going to expect. This is going to be a physical series. They're going to be, going back and forth. But the Bruins, I just don't think they got enough. I don't. I'm going to be that fan that just, until they prove me wrong, I'm going to sit here like they're not going to beat them. A lot of people believe that, there's a bad taste in their mouth from last year, and they're going to come out and give the Panthers a taste of their own medicine. They're going to out them. I think that is a lot of clickbait. I think that if you watch the first series from a perspective of, how's this actually look, you're going to say, well, the Leafs controlled the game. The Bruins just, puck was going their way. I mean, the Leafs outshot them in a lot of situations. They got a lot more shots on frame in a lot of situations. They controlled the puck better in a lot of situations. Honestly, the only real killer for the Leafs is the fact that their special teams is ass. They can't score a power play. They can't kill a penalty. And it was pretty much that's the story the entire time. And the worst part about it was the Leafs couldn't stay out of the damn box. Those 3 things sunk the Leafs against the Bruins, and they still managed to go 7. The Bruins are not winning this series. And I hate myself for saying it. And all the Bruins fans in the comments are going to call me a fair weather fan. But you know what? I'm a realist. And if you think the way the Bruins played against the Leafs, if they play that style of hockey against the Panthers, and you think they're going to win, you are on some special kind of drugs, because there is no way in hell they can play that style of hockey and win. Gage, what do you think, man?
I mean, I have Florida going to the Cup Finals again, so that should pretty much tell you what I think. The Bruins are not as good as they were last year. The Panthers handled them. And I think the Panthers are probably a little bit better this year. But I think they just have more experience in the playoffs now. Super comfortable. Their playoff Bob is living up to playoff Bob. And they're historically and still just a absolutely physical, dominating team, which no one other than the Vegas Golden Knights, I think, can keep up with. So I think it should be pretty nice stroll in the park this series for the Panthers.
Yeah, I don't see a way that it's just not going to work out for them. I think that, you would need a masterclass by Swayman. I still don't know if he's going to get all the starts. I think that if he loses game one, they may go back, check Linus Ullmark, see if he's, they're going to keep going this his hot hand sort of route, which is what Toronto should have did with Wall. Instead, they went back to Samsonov. But yeah, I just don't see a way. I don't. Ian, you said it best. Like there's no way that this is going to go the right way for the Bruins. I mean, I just don't see a way it works. So either way, I say the Panthers move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they will face the winner of our next series, which is the Rangers and Canes. I'll go ahead and give a little insight on this. I said that the Rangers looked dominant all year. And then they came out and absolutely smoked the Washington Capitals, who, honestly, I didn't feel like they had any reason to be there. Ovechkin doesn't score a point. First time, I believe, in his playoff career, he has never scored a point. And the Rangers handled them in a sweep, 4 games, 2-0, the only sweep of the first round. And then they come out and absolutely body the Canes, in my opinion, 4-3. They'll play again here tomorrow. I don't see a team right now in the East that has a shot at beating the Rangers. I think the Panthers are their best competition. I just don't know if they'll get it done. But this is an easy one for me. The Rangers are going to win this series, bar none. Ian, what do you got?
Rangers in 7. I just think Carolina's too talented to get knocked out in a short series. I don't care about their playoff struggles with goal scoring. That team has too much talent to go out in a short series. Now, having said that, the Rangers do not struggle to score goals in the playoffs. Carolina does. With Carolina's struggles, you also have to play Igor Shesterkin. So it's already not looking good. The Rangers look good. The Rangers look exactly how we thought they should. I say how we thought they should because they're a President's Trophy winner, and that doesn't ever go well. But that's neither here nor there. Carolina kind of struggled against the Islanders. That was closer than a 5-game series would indicate. Again, their scoring problems showed up. And when you play the Rangers, currently the Rangers are up 1-0. That was a very back and forth affair. I don't think we see that again. I think that was a get to know each other game, and the Rangers outlasted Carolina. I think Igor's going to shut him out at home. I think the Canes are going to get 2 at home. I think every home team is going to win every game this series, and I think the Rangers are just going to be the better team at the end of the day, because that's what they are. They were the best team in the NHL, and they're the better team this year. That was a long way to say Rangers in 7. Anyhow, that's my 2 cents.
See, I don't think it goes 7. I think that, the Canes may see 5, probably 6. But I think that, it would not surprise me after 4 if the Rangers are up 3-1. Gage, what do you think?
I'm going to try to take this not as a Devils fan going forward. It will always be fuck the New York Rangers, but I see them winning in 6 at worst.
Yeah.
Carolina is such a good team until they reach the second round of the playoffs. That's where it just always falls apart for them. And they're trying. Like, they're trying every offseason to get over that hump. And then they run into absolute steamrollers in the second round. And this year it just happens to be the New York Rangers. All well and good. Carolina will play them tough. It'll be close every game. But it's going to go the Rangers' way 80% of the time. So, yes, they'll win a game. They'll probably win game 3 at home. And aside from that, maybe game 4. Maybe. And then I see them losing 5 and 6.
That's kind of how I felt about it. I mean, I know Carolina's good. They just happen to be in a bad situation where they got to meet the New York Rangers. And I think the Rangers are just a class above everybody in the Eastern Conference. I think the only team that can push them 7 is probably the Panthers, in my personal opinion. But, it'll be interesting to see how Carolina answers, in game 2. Obviously, if the Rangers control that going home, they'll need to win game 3. But if they don't win game 3, they're going to be in desperation mode for game 4. And that's kind of where I'm seeing this going, is that there's going to be a certain point here where they're just don't have any chance to come back. We're going to go ahead and shift gears to the Western Conference now. And we're going to start with Vancouver and Edmonton. And Edmonton, I have been saying this for a long time, I think they're a Western Conference Finals team. I don't think Vancouver can match them offensively. I think Stuart Skinner is the wild card for Edmonton. He's been playing out of his mind in comparison to how we thought he was going to play. I mean, let's be fair. We got to give Stuart Skinner his fucking flowers, man. The guy absolutely elevated his play for a team that needed the crease play there. And we were talking earlier about, if Samsonov has gone out for the Leafs, where could he go? This is another team that could be looking to add in the crease if he falls apart in this playoff run, especially with how the offense has been playing. The defense has been stepping up for them too, which has also been a little bit of a problem for the Oilers, in past series and past playoff runs. So they're going up against Vancouver, who we honestly have been waiting to fall off for a long time. I honestly thought the Predators let them off the hook. I think the Vancouver, got lucky a little bit here. The Panthers collapsed in the third period and allowed up 4 goals, and that allowed this series to be, a 3-1 instead of a 2-2. I think if it's a 2-2, this goes 7. And the Predators get a shot at them. So I don't think that Edmonton's going to do that for Vancouver. I think Edmonton's going to play them a lot harder and more consistent than the Predators did. That being said, I think Edmonton gets this in 6. I think they just got too much offensively, and Vancouver, who's had a hell of a run this year, I think they came out of nowhere, in all honesty, and how we all thought they would do. We thought, this would be just short-lived. They were going to fall out of the playoffs, and they surprised us all. So hell of a run, but yeah, Edmonton's too much for them right now, and that's how it's going to be. I think McDavid makes a Western Conference final appearance. Him and Draisaitl get this going, and Stuart Skinner continues his resurgence in the crease. What do you guys think? Sorry, Ian.
This might be controversial. Vancouver in 6.
Okay.
That is a flaming take, I know, but hear me out. What does Edmonton have outside of their 3 forwards and Evan Bouchard?
Stuart Skinner.
Okay, and I don't trust their structure. Vancouver plays with a better structure.
You got no block, bro. The no block effect. New kid on the no block.
And they're playing a playoff tested coach in Rick Tocchet. I like their structure better. I like Vancouver's structure better. I think they have, when it comes down to pure defenseman on defenseman, I'm taking Quinn Hughes over Evan Bouchard 1,000 times out of 1,000. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. What?
Said Darnell Nurse also sucks.
Yeah, Darnell Nurse is employed by the Oilers. Evan Bouchard, not great defensively. At his peak, he's a better version of John Klingberg. I said it. Great defenseman who will put up a bunch of points and can't play defense. Sure, they have they have McDavid and Draisaitl. And Edmonton was everyone's sexy pick to go to the Cup final last year. I don't trust their depth scoring. I don't trust... Yeah, and you chose wrong, Gage.
Oh, I'm ready to get hurt again. If you think my playoff bracket on NHL doesn't have Edmonton in 6, you're wrong.
They don't have the depth. They don't have the depth to make a run. And if they make it to the conference finals, they're getting swept anyway.
He's
sorry.
A Dallas fan,
Oh,
Gage.
whatever you're smoking, like pass it this way, bro. Like,
Dude, he's a Dallas fan. Of course,
I was right last year too. I was right last year too.
That's all, but he's straight homering right now.
It is not me being a homer. I don't think they beat Colorado. This would murder them, and I'd give you reasons for why. Colorado does what Edmonton does better, and Dallas can play any game you want, and their depth is miles better than Edmonton's. And I've seen Dallas shut down McDavid and Draisaitl and made them non-factors. Stop. Hey, I hate the Vancouver Canucks. I have hated on them all year. They are going to win this series in 6 games. They're going to win this series in 6 games.
You know that thing that happens in Around the Horn?
Because Vancouver plays with
a... That's what happens in Around the Horn when you start...
No, you're not doing this to me. You ain't doing this to me. They play with a better structure. They have a better defense. They have better depth. And they know how to shut down high-end skill guys. Vancouver in 6 games. Okay. And we can pin this, put this on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, put my face out there saying this, and when it happens, we can come back to it, and you guys can kiss my feet.
Feet? That's not... I can get you a proverb book. This mix and match shit's got to go. You know what I mean?
You can kiss the nastiest part of me because that's how right I'm gonna be.
It might be his feet. It just might be his feet. I don't know. It just might be his feet. The nastiest part of him. I don't know what that clarifies there.
Nasty of you, my guy.
Yeah. Okay. So Gage,
at least it's my feet getting kissed instead of me kissing the feet.
Yeah. In the words of Wes Welker, he's got some nice feet over there.
That's what this episode is getting called. Feet.
Oh my god, bro.
Just feet.
Gage, please save us. Get us back on track here, man.
Get us on track, Gage.
How do you see this series going, dude? I need you to reel us back in here.
We already know how this is gonna go with Gage.
My pick. I think it's gonna be a shootout every single game. Skinner, I think, will be the deciding factor how long the series goes. I think Quinn Hughes is going to be a big part of how defensively they come out. And it's going to be Leon Draisaitl. That's going to be the big focal point for Edmonton this series. I think they're going to shadow McDavid very well, and they're going to really lock him to minimal opportunities as you can with Connor McDavid. Shut the fuck up, Ian. I would be hard-pressed to say in another year I wouldn't go Vancouver if they have more playoff experience, because it's a super young team. No one thought they'd be here. They outplayed every which way prediction, and good on them. They deserve to get the experience. They deserve to come back next year and really have a good chance. I think it's just a little too early. Said the same things with the Devils last year. It's just a little too early. Edmonton has done this every year for the last 4 years. They've been here. They fuck depth at this point. They've skated to the Eastern Conference Finals with no depth, and they're just used to it at this point, I think.
I'd be shocked if they skated to the Eastern Conference Finals, considering where they play.
Western Conference Finals. Yeah, you got me there. Right, fair enough. Fair play. Fair play. I think now that Vegas is out, and I don't think Dallas can score with Edmonton, and I don't think Colorado beats Dallas. So
Thanks for your support at the very least, Gage.
I mean, it's a shit pick. Whatever we go to, I picked the Knights, so I don't. It's a throwaway for me. I think Edmonton. I think it's very much so their last real chance before they have to start looking at the same thing with the Leafs. How we reach the ceiling of what this team can do, and we said, "Oh, it's goaltending holding them back." Yeah, great goaltending going into the playoffs. Great goaltending for the first series against the Jets. They need better defensive play. Best defensive play they're going to get out of that lineup in that first series. Easily. So they're out of excuses. They have a new coach who's coached them out of the cellar. We might not see the Edmonton Oilers anywhere close to a playoff spot a month and a half into the season. Edmonton Oilers are probably the best team in the West. So it's hard pressed to say that the Canucks are going to halt that steam engine coming down.
Yeah, the momentum is definitely on the Oilers' side here. I got them in 6. I think that's what's going to happen. We are going to shift to the final matchup in the Western Conference and our last matchup to break down of the evening. It is Ian's Dallas Stars going up
Come
against
to me
Carl.
on this one.
Oh, I'm going to. I wasn't going to go to you first. I was going to torture you a little bit anyway. That's my fucking thing, man. Like, get over it. You weren't even going to be. I thought about not even going to you at all.
The only torture here is going to be y'all kissing my feet when Vancouver wins.
Why are we going back to this?
It's such a weird thing. Such a weird thing. So you have Colorado and Dallas. You have Ian's Stars versus Carl's Avalanche. And here's how I see this going. In the first round, the Avalanche, who took on the Winnipeg Jets and beat them in 5, did not score less than 5 goals in a game. But they also didn't score more than 6. They either scored 5 or 6 goals, one of the two, and that's how it went against probably one of the best goalies in the league. And they absolutely obliterated it, which is exactly what I thought would happen because the Jets they couldn't score. And I didn't think their defense was as good as their goal differential made it look. I thought a lot of that was goalie dependent, and it turns out it was, and they got absolutely destroyed. Now they're going against the Dallas Stars team, who I think is significantly better on the defensive side. I think their goalie, I think we can all agree that the goalie in the crease for the Stars is not at the par of what the Jets had, but their defense is better. I think this series is going to be close. I think this goes 7. I think this is the best series matchup-wise of the second round. I think it's going to be the most interesting to watch of the second round. Outside of maybe what some Boston fans might say about the Panthers rematch, purely just because of the storylines and the history from last year. But this is my pick of the series of the second round. I feel like you can flip a coin in Game 7 for how this is going to go. I think that Dallas gets better crease play than the Avalanche do on a consistent basis, and that's going to be the deciding factor here. The defense of Colorado can only do so much. And I think the Dallas Stars take this in 7 games and match it with the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals. And since Ian has so kindly allowed himself to go last, Gage, what are you feeling for this series?
Well, I kind of tipped my hand a little bit. I do think the Stars will win. Surely, because the game Dallas is going to make them play. Dallas will make it low shot, low scoring, nitty-gritty hockey, which is not how the Avs play. The Avs play finesse. They play fast. They play, we're going to score every goal we can, and you just can't keep up. And I don't think they're going to be able to play that game. I don't think it turns out well for them. I think it's going to go 7. But I do think Dallas will take it in 7, just sheerly against competing styles of play. And more often than not, I do think they'll shut them down enough where they can keep pace with goal, and they just are. Outside of Cale Makar, Dallas is better defensively. Goaltending in Colorado has been shaky at times, and you play a gritty team that's going to take a lot of screens in front of the net, down low, crash the net. It's going to throw you off as a goalie. It's going to give you a different style of play than the Jets, who couldn't score to save their lives. So it's going to be a much different series, much tougher series, and I don't think it bodes well for Colorado.
I'm right there with you. I felt the same way. I thought that, it was going to come down to which goalie could, keep up and kind of give you, get that last bit out of them. And it just hasn't been Colorado's year in the crease. I think that that's pretty much the way we see this going. At the end of the day, it is what it is, man. Like, that's just kind of how you're going to have to play it. But, Ian, this is your team. This is your series, man. How do you see it going? Is this going 7 games?
You're going to call me a homer, but I'm picking the Stars in 6. And the reason I'm picking them in 6 is not for the reasons mentioned above or the reasons I see everybody talking about them winning. In my opinion, I think Vegas was the worst matchup for Dallas in these playoffs. They play a style of play that can shut down the Stars. And the Stars, to their credit, beat Vegas at their own game. However, with this series, the ice is going to open up. We know how Colorado likes to play. They like to play fast. That's how Dallas has played all year. Dallas will play a speed game against you. Dallas loves to play a speed-based game with lots of rushes. I call the style of play that Dallas plays with, I call the stun and gun. They stun you in the neutral zone, or they shut down your attempts at one rush in the defensive zone, and they spring you up the ice. They send it to a winger up by the opposition's blue line, and they spring a center screaming through the middle of the ice. Strong play in all 3 zones, stun you, and then gun the other way. Dallas can also shut you down defensively, and they play a little bit more physical. They were bullying a team in the Knights that was bigger than them. The Colorado Avalanche can't play that way. They have a couple guys that can, namely Makar, McKinnon, and Rantanen, but everybody else is kind of undersized. I think Sam Girard, you're going to see him get bullied a lot this year. And I think if Colorado can't get to the middle of the ice, they're toast. Dallas can keep you out of the middle of the ice. They're perfectly fine keeping you skidding around the middle. To Colorado's credit, they could very easily force this open. They could, and I watched Jack Eichel do it, they could look at Dallas's weaknesses on the back end and say, hey, maybe they can't keep up with our speed, which I'm perfectly fine with them trying. I don't know if goaltending is going to come play as big a factor because we watched a better goalie in Connor Hellebuck lose, a better goalie than Ottinger lose to Alex Georgiev. So I don't know if that plays a factor necessarily. I think what we're going to see is a fast-paced series, and I think Dallas's depth is going to play out because Colorado doesn't have the most impressive depth, and Drouin's hurt, and a couple of their other guys are hurt. So, I mean, you've also got Nichushkin coming off an injury, so look for that to play a factor. I think Dallas is going to win this one in 6.
6 is not a bad guess. I mean, like I said, I chose 7 just because I think this is the best series, and I would love to see it go 7. I think these teams match up really well. Just remember, Georgiev outdid. It came more down to Winnipeg's offense, I think, than actual goaltending. In my personal opinion, Winnipeg was not a very good offensive team. We've discussed that multiple times, how they were one of the worst offensive teams in the playoffs, and honestly, it showed its ugly head outside of one game where they outscored them by 1 goal, 6-5. Where they had an offensive explosion. I think that's what the biggest question mark here is the fact that Dallas's offense is good, and I think that's why we're going to see this come down to more which offense is actually going to be better. I do think that the Stars have a unique matchup that allows them to be good against a team like Colorado, and also like Edmonton, because of Colorado and Edmonton play a similar style of hey, we're just going to run you off the court or off the ice and absolutely just, score as many goals as we can. But it's going to be interesting to see how the second round plays out. But that is all of our breakdowns. I want to thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Share this with all your friends and family members and on your socials as well, so you can get more people in here to enjoy the crease, so we can get more people in the comments, so we can talk with you about hockey going on right now. We'll be back to break down the second round more so after these series get more underway, see how we predict the Eastern and Western Conference Finals from playing out. Until then, I'm Joe, that's Gage, and Ian. We'll see you next time on The Crease.